Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Under the Lights. I'm Russ Robinson, along with George Broadstreet. We will be here until midnight tonight. Ty Bailey will be taking your calls at 877-MPB-RING, or for those of you that are challenged like I, 877-672-7464. And like I say, we'll be here till midnight tonight. Playoff football across the state. We'll have a report with Crazy Eights at 11:30 with Noah, who is actually producing tonight, filling in for Chris Saxon, who is on the mend, and we're glad to know that. Been kind of a quick week, you know. Of course, you had Halloween on Tuesday, and coldest day of the year. I mean, you know, which really wasn't all that bad because they all got cold and they went in early.
Which, in full disclosure, Noah brought a full sack of Halloween candy,
Yes.
which we've sampled. So we'll stay awake till 12 for sure.
I'm wired already.
So that's not going to be a problem.
Friday
tonight.
Night Under the Lights could go to 2 tonight if we needed to.
Liz will probably cut us off. She'll pull the plug at 12.
Yes, but you know what? She brought me. I don't if you are a member of MPB, and I certainly hope everybody is. I am. And they have a magazine that they have put out every month, and they have a nice one-page on Friday Night Under the Lights. And then we're located back also in the section where they say what they carry on radio, but a nice section here in the October issue of the tuning. And so we want to thank MPB for that. Also, they got new logo here about a week or so ago, and got new T-shirts, which means we got new T-shirts.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's all good. Lot of Thursday night games, and I think, George, as we get down to the number of schools that are eliminated now, I think you'll see less and less Thursday night games.
Yeah, there'll be less and less. I mean, normally in a given week, we cover about 150 games, thereabouts. Tonight, there's only 95. Actually, this weekend, there's only 95. So that just shows you the number of, it's pared down because we are in playoffs, not in 7A, not in 5A, not in 6A, but in the other classifications, including MAIS. It's pretty much all playoffs. There were 61 games tonight, but 34 last night. So we've got plenty to cover.
Yeah, well, we got a lot to cover, and of course, we want to talk about, as we have a lot more this year than ever, and we're really going to talk about it from now until the end of November, and that is the All-Star games that are coming up with the MHSAA. Johnny Mims is, it's just I think it's the two most fun football games that I call all year.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a little change this year. We're going to talk to them about that because they're running the Bernard-Blackwell game first the weekend after the state championship.
Which is unusual.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And because Alabama's a week behind on their playoffs, which means that the MSHAA game cannot happen until the 15th. So Johnny's going to talk to us about that, and we've got coaches coming on tonight that are going to be involved in those two ball games, and so we got a big show lined up for you. And by the way, if you want to go and listen to the show again, Dr. Dave will have it up on the website, and so you can go to and listen to it again. I got to tell you this before we get rolling. I haven't had a chance to send it to Dr. Dave, but Granny sent me a picture on Halloween night.
Yeah. That's kind of
scary. It was very disturbing on a lot of fronts. Secondly, it reminded me of a girl I dated in high school. That wasn't good. I mean, when do you see this picture and you'll just say, there's no one like Granny on this station, on these stations.
No.
And by the way, a big thanks to MPB for carrying us tonight. You know that you can hear MPB Think Radio on 90.3, 89.5, 88.9, 90.9, 91.3, 88.1, 89.9, and 90.3 across the state of Mississippi. That covers the state.
Yeah, it does, and you may be getting out to a few ships at sea tonight, for all you know.
It's those bells in the it's a buoy. It's not a bell. All right, give me a couple of quick scores first because we got Johnny Mims on. We want to talk to him.
Okay, I'm going to give you some Thursday night games of interest. Brandon defeated Northwest Rankin 27-10 last night. Madison Central defeated Clinton 35-3. Warren Central beat Columbus 41-6. It was, and this was a Friday night game. Provine defeated Florence 41-20. Terry shut out Forest Hill 55-0. It was Laurel over Gaucher 48-30. George County edged Pascagoula 43-40. Gulfport over Harrison Central 49-7. Picayune won Thursday night over Hancock 49-21. Let me see and give you a couple of more. Brookhaven beat Natchez 29-14. It was South Jones over North Pike 33-28. Pearl defeated Meridian 21-0. Oak Grove over Petal 48-21. Ocean Springs shut out St. Martin 41-0. A couple of Friday night games, and we'll get into more of these as the night goes on. But Pass Christian beat Richland 48-6. Newton County over North Pontotoc 29-7. Houston beat Shannon 34-13. And it was Macomb over Bay High by the score of 55-7.
Do you remember the mascot for the Houston team?
No, I don't.
Hilltoppers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Houston Hilltoppers.
Yeah,
And
okay.
speaking of Hilltoppers, the guy that is at the top of the mountain in my book, Johnny Mims, who is the executive director of the MAC, Mississippi Association of Coaches, joins us now on Friday night under the lights. Good evening, sir. How are you? Is Johnny with us? Yeah, there you are.
Hey.
Are you curled up by the fire and just enjoying this nice fall Friday night?
Well, yeah, it's actually tonight was one of the only few Friday nights I've had off, and but enjoyed being home and spending some time with the grandchildren.
There's nothing like that, my friend. All right, you've got, of course, the two games that we love to cover every year, and man, we here in the next week or so we're gonna have some bang up announcements to where you can find this game this year. But for right now, you've got the Bernard Blackwell Classic that normally runs the second week, but is going to run the first week after the state championships this year. And then, of course, you got the MSHAA game. Explain to the folks out there why Bernard Blackwell's running first this year.
Well, this year it flipped to us. This happens to us about once every 4 or 5 years. Alabama has a rule over in the state of Alabama. They cannot play their first game until the first Friday in September. And so it happened this year, and so we actually started ours, I think, the last week in August. So we're 1 week ahead of them. So when our state championships are being played, the following week is when they will play their state championship. So we actually just flip-flop our Bernard Blackwell game and our MSHAA game, and but it's a good thing, and the kids love it and looking forward to it.
Well, the North-South Bernard Blackwell game comes with a Friday night banquet that has always been special. It was a little more special to me last year than normal because I was a honorary captain, but and got to speak at the banquet. But it is such a great time, and you get speakers in there that challenge these kids, and I'm telling you, they listen to the speakers that are up there, and of course you've got some awards to give them. It's really a fun night to get ready before that game.
It gives the parents and coaches an opportunity to come support the young one, and we'll sell out every year. It's over 400 people at the banquet, as you well know, but you served as an honorary captain last year, and what a great message you sent the kids and the players and everybody there. They were impressed, and I'm going to do a shout out to you for that. I know that's not why you did this, but you had a great message to the players. But that's the time we get to honor the players, and we give them a gift, and just recognize every player there. The Air National Guard has stepped up, and that's who hosts us down there, and so we recognize them and our sponsors that help us with help us with the expenses of this game. And it's quite a task when you bring 90 players, 45 from the north, 45 from the south. We bring them in and house them 4 nights and feed them 3 meals a day and snacks at night, and all the stuff that goes on to it that most people don't know, but that's okay. And they'll just show up on Saturday at 11:30 and watch the game, and that's great. But we want these players to go out with a great experience and something that kind of cap off their high school career. And I say high school career because I'm going to tell you probably 85-90% of these players will still go on and play at the next level, at D1 level and junior college and whatever. So, tremendous athletes in these games and just the speed of the game, is everywhere out there. And I tell everybody, the running backs that can outrun the linebackers in high school or the opposing teams or whatever. Now you got linebackers that can run as fast as you're running.
That's right.
And that type stuff. So, it's a great atmosphere. It's been great. I think this is the 68th or 69th, game, Bernard Blackwell game. Archie Manning played in this game. Some of the all-time greats have played in this
Gardner
game.
Minshew played in this game.
Exactly. Gardner Minshew, a lot of these players that, as I've told you before, this Mississippi-Alabama game, the rules will only allow us to take a certain amount of players and a certain amount per position. And when you start doing that in the state of football, we have a lot of tradition and a lot of good players in the state of Mississippi. So it gives us another opportunity to showcase another 90 players of our seniors and just all around a good cause for everyone involved and of course with you being there and broadcasting the game for us, being the voice of the MHSAA. I mean, we're just on cloud nine. We think we've got a good thing going with this.
Well, we sure do. And I'll tell you at the conference, the media conference that you have, I really, and I know the conference is still up on Friday Night on the Lights website, and I'm sure it's up on yours. But I'd like for people to look at that and look at these coaches that are going to be represented here. Johnny, it's the creme de la creme of men who give their time to these kids, and they want these kids to excel. And I'd like to know, even if I wasn't going to play another game of football in my life, that my last game was coached by one of these guys.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, and all of these coaches are voted on amongst their own peers in the coaching profession. And of course, we have certain, rules. They have to have coached so long and they've won so many divisions and championships and stuff to be able to coach in that. But and of course, you have to be an assistant coach in the Bernard Blackwell, and then then you're qualified to be a head coach in the Bernard Blackwell. Once you qualify that, it qualifies you to be an assistant coach in the MSHAA, and then that it qualifies you to be a head coach in the MSHAA. So, these coaches, they take a lot of pride in that. And so, and we certainly appreciate it because we know, these coaches are, they're 365 days a year now. There's no off season for these guys anymore. Mm-hmm. And, they not only putting in a lot of time with their own team at home, trying to get them ready to play, or even right now during their season, they're double dipping, so to speak, and working overtime, putting together offenses and meeting with the rest of the coaches on the staff to come up with a game plan. Because as you well know, when they show up, they've got 4 days or 5 days to practice.
Yeah, that's it.
7 days, and that's it. So. But yes, our head coach for the MSHAA game this year is Judd Boswell. Has had an outstanding career at Clinton. Has had some unfortunate bad luck. Was at his game last night and saw, he had his starting quarterback and his second-string quarterback again got hurt on the same play and won in the same play in the game.
Oh my gosh! Well, he'll have them ready though, Johnny. He'll have the Mississippi All-Stars ready.
And real quick, I want to do a shout-out to our North coach at Randy Montgomery from North Panola and our South coach at Blake Penny. So those are our head coaches. We're looking forward to them, and I know they are too.
Thank you, Johnny. We'll be talking to you between now and game time. We appreciate you spending some time with us on your Friday night.
All right, Russ, thank you so much. Shout-out to Chris Day.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks so much, Johnny. We'll take a time out. More of Friday Night Under the Lights made possible tonight by Cricket Wireless. Go to cricketwireless.com for all the information. Back in a moment.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Malone Roofers. Malone Roofers are more than just roofers. They're a part of your community. George Broadstreet is at the scores desk, and I'm sure you have some scores.
I do. I want to make 2 comments before I give scores.
Okay.
One, I don't think you need an honorary captain this year. With that shoulder injury, I think you're definitely shelved for the All-Star game. That's number one. Number 2, Johnny Mims mentioned that Archie Manning played in. It wasn't. I don't think it was the Bernard Blackwell game. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Miss Al?
Yeah, in 1960.
Oh.
Gosh, you were 1960.
69?
No, he would have played in like 67 or 68. And my dad took me to the All-Star game in Memorial Stadium. And we were going because my dad, he followed Ole Miss.
Oh, yes.
And he wanted to see Johnny Vaught's quarterback. And Johnny Vaught had recruited this kid out of Meridian, whose name I remember, but I will not say. But he'd recruited this Big 8 quarterback from Meridian. Ooh. But they had signed Archie Manning from Drew, which, Drew High School had, a couple hundred people, period. Mm-hmm. Anyway, long story short, Archie Manning played, and he lit them up. I mean, he was magic. And it was like from there on, he was it.
The legend is
and
is
he just
a legend.
started there because he was great.
What a great story that is. You know, you and your dad spending time watching Archie up and down the field.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody's like, who is this? And you're looking at the program, it's like Archie Manning from Drew. Nobody had ever heard of him.
And 3 years later, you have a song called The Ballad of...
That's true. And he'd only gotten a scholarship offer. I think he got a scholarship offer from State, maybe one other place, and Ole Miss, and of course, Anyway, the rest was history, but it was
neat.
It was really good. And that was in the game. They didn't, it's now Bernard Blackwell.
Right.
But it wasn't called that then, but it was...
How about that?
Great story.
Great story.
Let me see. Let me give you some scores I didn't give you before. There's some big games now. This was Thursday night. South Panola defeated Grenada 28-7.
Keep an eye on the Tigers now, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and Tupelo beat Starkville.
No.
Oh yeah, 36-6. I mean, we need to get a report on that. Starkville's had a really weird season. Either really great or they've had some games but got beat. But
Didn't
Tupelo,
they beat Madison Central last year?
Yeah, badly. I mean, just mauled them. But
Wow.
Tupelo won last night. Let's see. West Jones, it remains undefeated, beating Hattiesburg 37-7, and West Point beat New Hope 56-0.
Well, West Point's normally where they are this time.
Yeah, they're where they are.
You mentioned that Hattiesburg score very quickly before we go to the phone. We'll let Ty Bull tell us what's going on down at Crystal Springs. But was talking to Mike Peterson, who's going to be calling us later about that ball game, and he said he thought that he had heard that they may be practicing on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. Well, now hey, look, now that was a Thursday night game, but they're still in the playoffs.
And look at West Jones. I've seen them up close.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good. They're 10-0, so they're good. All right, let's go to the telephones with Ty Bowles. Ty, I know Crystal Springs is, they fought their way into the playoffs, but did they stay in it long?
No, not as bad. The score was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Well, why did you think it was going to be bad? Didn't they match up with them well?
Well, they did, and everything, we tied it up, then they scored 27 points on us.
Well, now you're talking about St. Stanislaus, and this is a good football team, and it's kind of been an up and down season for the Tigers at Crystal Springs, hadn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Did they lose some kids to injury, or is it just youth, or what can we look for?
I think it's just youth, I think.
Probably so, but the coach doing a good job over there. I think they were a very competitive football team, but St. Stanislaus is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, it should, so that ends the season for the Tigers.
Yes. I'm going up to getting ready to go to start Vegas tomorrow morning.
There you go.
What time's the state game start?
6:30.
Oh, so you're going to enjoy the whole day up there.
Yeah.
Well, say it.
I'll have a picture of me standing in front of Dogzilla wearing the state jersey and having hook and horns on.
We'll say it and we'll split.
Yeah.
You got to say it before we leave. Thanks, Ty. He loves those dogs, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe I'll do him some good tomorrow.
I hope so. Who they have tomorrow?
Kentucky.
Let's toss up.
Yeah,
it is. And Ole Miss got LSU, don't they?
No, they got Texas A&M.
Oh, that's right.
Tomorrow morning.
Alabama has LSU tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
Good
night.
day of football tomorrow
big day
night.
of football. Good
All right.
football.
All right, let's go to the telephones. Will, we were trying to figure out, I sent you a text this morning as to whether Provine made it in the playoffs or they didn't based on the last game. What is the situation for the Provine Rams?
Well, man, it's worse than calculus from high school. That's how bad it was. But prior to last night's games, for Provine, it was basically the Rams had to beat Florence, which the game was played tonight instead of last night, and South Jones had to beat North Pike in order for the Rams to get in. Part one was completed last night when South Jones pulled the mile upset over North Pike. But what happened was tonight's game against Florence really didn't matter because after the game last night, there was a three-way tie for the fourth and final spot between Provine, North Pike, and South Jones. The way Provine got in was by a point differential. For MHSAA schools, the maximum you can get is 12 points. So if you beat somebody 55-0 in the MHSAA games, you're only going to get 12 points for the victory.
Interesting.
The 11-point win Provine had over South Jones was the one that got us in, even though we lost to North Pike. But because North Pike lost to South Jones, that's how the Rams wound up getting in.
Well, but they won tonight, didn't they? Didn't they beat Florence tonight?
They did. 41-20 was that final score. I don't have the particulars on it, but I was talking with our head coach, Timothy Wilson, earlier this morning via text, and he basically said we needed to win this game tonight even though we didn't have to, but we needed to win to carry momentum into next Friday's game, which for the Rams, they will make the trip between the bricks and law to take on the Golden Tornadoes.
Oh, that'll be a good one, and it's good to see Provine back in it. They all those years under Willie Collins over there, and you expected to see him in the playoffs every year, and they've kind of been out of it for a couple of years, but good to see him back in. Will, we got to get to a lot of people. We appreciate obviously the work you do here for us at Friday Night Under the Lights, and congratulations to your Rams, and we'll see what they do next week.
All right, we'll definitely let you know how they turn out.
Thanks, Will. Will the Thrill with us here on Friday night. All right, Eric Smith. I actually texted J.J. Plummer today. I was going to try to get him on the show, and he may come on later on tonight. But Eric's with us tonight, and I'm assuming you're dancing in the streets. I don't know.
Not tonight. That pirate ship came on shore after them Rangers. They beat us 48-6. They scored early, often, and I think they might still be scoring, Russ.
The game's over with. But so that ends the season, correct?
It ends the season, but let me tell you about this Ranger Club. They got 5 seniors. So tonight's game, that beating taught us a lot and will help us down the road. We came out better tonight coming down here and taking one than sitting at home and getting nothing.
I like that train of thought. Because if you gain something out of a game, then it was worth anything you had to do to play the game.
We had an extra week of practice. These kids needed that. And another thing, you talk about JJ. Since he's been at Richland, this is 2 out of 5 years now, and we have a chance next year to the first time in school history to follow back-to-back. I mean, we've been playing football since 1981. We don't have it like Macomb and Louisville and Starkville and Madison Central and Pearl and Brandon. We little old Richland, like Darbo said, we little old Richland, we still got some growing to do, and the kids don't get growing. We gonna make some noise a year or two. We still a year or two down the road, but they didn't quit. They did not quit. They did not quit. Matter of fact, a running clock in the 4th, but we scored 25 seconds ago. We went and got it.
How about that?
And a little birdie told me Florence set their starters tonight.
They what?
To be safe, so they were already in at number 1, and he played junior
Set their
varsity
starters.
tonight.
What do you say?
Ooh, what do you think about that?
I think it was smart because if a key player gets a knee injury, you lose them, and then you already got number 1. Some people think you're gonna play South State, so yeah, I think good move, Rod Davis. I'm behind him.
That sounds like the NFL.
In preseason.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, hey, you sitting there, you're the top dog in the district. Nobody beats you till. Why not? You got a home game. You got 2 wins. Your 2 rounds. And then you play in South State, Two rounds at home and then South State, which might be at home.
You're exactly right. Well, listen, hey, before we let you go, how's the Big Nasty doing, your brother?
Oh, man, look, me and him watched them Pirates last night. They look good. That was shocking that they Murrah beat. Pearl shut out Meridian 21-0. That was a good ball game.
It was a great ball game.
Big Nasty was sitting there talking about it. With the Pearl Pirates, year in, year out, you don't know what you're going to get game. They get beat by somebody that shouldn't beat them, and then they come back and beat. My gosh, you can't believe they got 21-0 blank Meridian. It was a good ball game.
It was a good ball game.
Right.
Well, Eric,
come in right in time with them Pirates.
Hey, we're glad to hear from you again this year, and we'll hear from you next year as well. Eric Smith, thanks for making us part of your Friday night.
Yes, sir.
That's a Ridgeland Ranger that's excited right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And JJ doing a great job over there. He's just, like Eric said, look what he's up against.
Yeah, well, and two, he's right. You never heard of Richland football until the last couple of years, and they kind of made a name for themselves a little bit.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. Boy, we got some calls. We got Jake Wimberly, Kerry Metzler, and Mike Peterson all on the line here on Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible by Cricket Wireless and their flash sale. All the information is at cricketwireless.com. Back in a moment.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepaid college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
Welcome back to Friday night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by the State Treasurer of Mississippi. By the way, did you check your name yet to see how much cash you got coming to?
I've done that before, but
I'm throwing the gauntlet down.
Okay.
Okay. I want to see it in here next week, and I'm sure they owe Noah thousands of dollars, so he'll be checking this week. So, I go online and check that out. Very quickly before we go to the phones, because Jake Wembley's on, we got a score that we need to slide in here.
Yeah, let's see. Lafayette last night defeated Corinth 28-14. Biloxi shut out d'Iberville 35-0. It was Oxford beating Hernando 42-6. Again, these were Thursday night games. South Jones edged North Pike 33-28. Olive Branch over Lake Cormorant 28-6. Clarksdale shut out Pontotoc 32-0. And again, South Panola defeated Grenada 28-7.
Well, that leads us into the voice of the Brandon Bulldogs, Jake Wimberly, whose team won last night. Jake, congratulations on the win. I got to see a couple of highlights of this team. I'm telling you, these guys are clicking on all cylinders right now.
Russ, they really are, and thanks for having me in tonight. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, Sam Williams' team is doing everything the right way. And Russ, I want to throw a number to you guys, going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that number is 18-1. The significance of 18-1, since Sam Williams took over this program, and you remember when they took this program over, it was coming off a really bad year coming out of COVID.
Right.
This team is 18-1 in region play. And that's 3 6As, 3 7A.
Right.
And that one loss is to Oak Grove, 25-20 last year. They're 18-1 at home. Their one loss to Picayune this year by 8. This is a team that, and Sam has been real, adamant about, putting a light on the senior class, and they've done a wonderful, wonderful job with, Landon Barnes and Nate Blunt and some others. They've done everything the right way. And I tell you what, Russ, this team is really clicking on all cylinders heading into the playoffs.
Well, and, they say the book on the Bulldogs is how the quarterback goes is how the Bulldogs go.
Oh, well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we know this. I mean, if you're going to win a state championship or even play for a state championship, you've got to have really good quarterback play. And I think Brandon has that with Landon Barnes. You're talking about a guy who's a senior. I mean, he's going to be playing football next year at Gulf Coast Community College.
Oh.
He's done everything the right way. He's headed down the Gulf Coast. Cade Shivers is headed down the Gulf Coast, left tackle. But Russ, he is an excellent quarterback. He's the leader of this football team, and he's making plays that he made last year and the year before. And you're talking about a quarterback who's played in back-to-back state championships, looking for a third one.
The problem here is pretty simple. It's the people that are in front of you that you're going to have to beat to get to that championship game.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look, Russ, we say this every year. That when we talk about 6A, 5A, 6A, 7A, the field's deep.
Right.
The field's really deep. I mean, you look at Brandon. Obviously, they'll play Harrison Central coming up this weekend. That's a really good team. But then after that, it could be a rematch with Pearl, or it could be a rematch with Gulfport, which two teams they played this year. And then if you get by that, then you got to go play, an Oak Grove team who could, you could argue, per Mississippi Gridiron, that's the most talented team in the state. That they've played before, Ocean Springs, and then you got Tupelo and Starkville and some others in the north. So, yeah, I mean, this 7A field is wide open, and I don't know that there's a dime's worth of difference in about 7 or 8 of them.
I totally agree with that, Jake. And, I have seen and heard several people say that Oak Grove has the best offense in that group of teams, but even they can be beat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brandon was able to go down there several weeks ago and get a win against a very good Oak Grove team. They ran a trick play early, onside kick, kind of caught Oak Grove, sleeping a little bit. But, I mean, look, you're talking about Oak Grove with a quarterback who's committed to Texas A&M. You've got 3 defensive linemen that are committed to Division I programs. They are, I think, pound for pound, they are going to be, the most talented team in this field. It's just what is, when you look at the field, you look at the team Oak Grove has, you look at the team Brandon has, you look at the team Starkville has as the defending champion. I mean, they've got a quarterback in Trey Petty who's committed to Illinois. You look at Tupelo and the defense that they have. You look at Pearl with the momentum that they have. It is a very, very fun bracket that we're fixing to see, play in front of us here in 7A.
Well, we talked about it last summer when they were talking about 7A, and it has come to fruition. And, Jake, you do a great job on the call there for Brandon, and I've just heard so many here in the last year or so just sing your praises over there, and it's well noted, and we appreciate you taking the time out. I mean, you didn't even have a game tonight, and you decided to come on with us. So that I'm going to tell you what, that's put a feather in your cap.
Hey, Russ, thank you. And, hey, you know how it is, Russ. If you get an off night, you're glad to do whatever because you breathe for a second and you hope, hey, we're fixing to do this for 4 more weeks, and let's hope that's what we're fixing to do.
You're exactly right. I hope you do, Jake. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thanks, Russ. Appreciate it.
All righty. Let's go to Kerry Metzler, who, of course, is the play-by-play for the Maroon Tide. Kerry is, now, see, they played last night, didn't they?
Yes. They had a big win. I'm not sure if the final score, he'll tell us.
Yeah, Kerry will tell us. All right, Kerry, you on with us, bud?
I am.
All right. What do you mean you got a callus on your thumb from calling the show?
22 hits. Look, Jake, I'm going to get with Jake. I think we're going to find out who your insurance carrier is, and Jake and I are going to put a claim on it. I know Jason's trying, too, because he thought fine. I finally got through fine. I think we both got calluses on our thumb. I'm going to look, you know, heard of podiatrist and all. I'm going to look for a podiatrist.
You don't argue with success.
Well, I guess you don't. That's true, George. You're exactly right on that. Yeah, we did play last night. Played Hancock in our regular season finale. Picayune jumped out to a 49-0 lead in the first half. They scored every time they had the football in the first half. And the defense played really well, held Hancock right around 50 yards total offense in the first half. The team's been scoring a lot of points. We got everybody back finally. First time all year the Tide had everybody back since the Brandon game. And Quick Chris is back. He looked good last night. He got about 10 touchdowns, ran for 113 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And Nike Ratcliffe again, solid performance for him. 300 yards last week. Ran last night for about 115 yards on 10 carries. And it's just good to finally get those guys all healthy again. And it's the right time to get healthy as well.
Well, and leading in that led into my next question is that what is the difference between this Picayune team right now that you saw last night and the one that opened the season? Or is there any difference?
I don't know there's a whole lot of difference. I mean, the defense has been good since day one. The defense, led by Marion Tyser, and of course you got Demonte Waller, Davey Backwood. All those guys will play on Saturdays or Thursdays somewhere next year, and they've been consistent. But I think the thing about this defense is you got a lot of young kids
who haven't, I say, inexperienced, who hadn't really played a lot of snaps. They keep getting better every week. Robert Nunu Williams there in the secondary, Logan Hall, Nathan Hickman, a kid who just finished second at the state golf tournament the other day. He wasn't going to play. Of course, he's one of them Hickmans.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's another Hickman?
Yeah, another one, Nathan. He's been playing really well for us. He was part of the state championship last year and the year before, and he decided this year he's going to focus on golf. And then after we played, he didn't play at Brandon. After the Brandon game, he went back and said, "Hey, I think I want to play," and the seniors voted to bring him back. It's been lights out ever since.
How about that?
I think that's what's made the defense better is just, week to week, so many of these guys are just getting better and better, and the defense right now is really playing well. You look at the offense, they scored 49 points. Well, the speed of Davis, Ratcliffe, and also Junior Darrell Smith, when you've got those three guys in the lineup, at the same time, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and I think that's a real key for this team. Also, they can spread it out and throw it in the flats or throw it down the field if they got guys that can really get it.
Well, now, who has Picayune got to get through to get to a championship game?
Well, it starts with Forest Hill, and after that we'll play the winner of Pascagoula, Hattiesburg. Of course, West Jones is lingering out there. They're a quality ball club. Corey Reynolds has done a great job there, taking over that program, and their defense is really, really, about 50 reels in it, really good. I mean, they're.
And their offense is starting to click now.
That's almost many times I pushed that button, by the way. But anyway, they are really good. They've got a quality ball club, but you got to take it one at a time. As Coach Stoddard says, we're 0-0. I keep talking about his team, not we. I don't play, but he says his team is 0-0 when they show up on Mondays to get ready to play. And he said two things: we're 0-0, we'll be on time. And I think that's kind of the way he approaches things. And you don't take anything for granted. But you still got a lot of football to be played here against some quality teams. Hattiesburg, Pascagoula, George County, West Jones, Terry. I mean, you go down the list, there's some good ball clubs left in the South in 6A.
Well, go soak your thumb and I said soak it and get that callus off of there and give us a buzz next week. Do you want to say something, George?
I'm going to hang up when I call Jake, and we're going to get our claims together.
Hey, workman's comp. Thanks, Gary.
All right, good night.
Good night. Oh, man.
All right, let's see who you want to take next.
Mike.
All right, Mike in Hattiesburg.
Mike, I know you played last night. As good as you guys were playing, you ran into a buzzsaw.
We did. It's one thing to go in there playing against an undefeated team, but then it's another thing to play your worst game of the season against an undefeated team, and that's pretty much what happened last night. West Jones took the opening kickoff, drove it down about 55 yards in 4 plays, and it was 6-0 really quickly. We went 3 and out. Next thing you know, West Jones blocks a punt, punches it in again, and 5 minutes into the game, we're already down 13-0, and you get down 13-0 against a team who's given up 20 points all year. That's a big uphill battle to climb. But we're gonna flush that one away. Like Terry just said, everybody's 0-0 now, getting into the postseason, and we're gonna try to get back on track next week against Pascagoula.
Well, and Tony Vance will have that done, and he'll take this loss and he'll find some positives out of it, and it's like I say it all the time. It's a long season, and right now you're playing for it to be longer. And I tell you, the Tigers, you just ran into a hot team because, I saw them about halfway through the season, up close and personal. That defense is stout, and the offense is coming around now for West Jones, and that's what you ran into last night. I hear the music, Mike. We got to let you go, but we appreciate you calling us, and we'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Sounds good, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Mike. You too. We are going to take a timeout.
Yeah, and when we do, when we come back, we need to throw in a few scores. Got some good MAIS scores.
Oh, okay. We need to get to that. We're going to take a timeout. Tonight's show made possible by the State Treasurer of Mississippi's Affordable College Saving Plan. And, boy, is that a good one. We'll be back.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Leaky roof? Malone Roofing has you covered long after the storm. Mississippi's roofing experts, setting the industry standards. Family owned for over 50 years. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
When storms strike and wind and hail wreak havoc, Malone Residential Roofing is there through the restoration process all the way to completion. Contact Malone for your free storm inspection and consultation at ecmalone.com.
Welcome back to Friday night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson here along with George Broadstreet. Glad to have you with us tonight across the state of Mississippi and to parts unknown. By the way, Dr. Dave Show's going to join us in the second hour tonight. Talk about the playoff brackets and everything that are on the website. A lot of people pounding the website these days, and we're certainly glad about that. Ty Bailey is here. Charles is back here for MPB. Liz Gill is here, who is voting for high school football to start next year at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I don't see that happening.
No, don't see that happening.
And producer extraordinaire Bobby Groves from Prep has dropped in tonight and brought everybody pudding except for me. And I'm not.
You don't need anything else.
It's an inside story. All right,
Yeah.
what you got?
Well, let me give you some MAIS playoff games. Of course, Jackson Prep did beat Madison St. Joe tonight 42-6. That's in 6A playoff. 5A playoffs, Starkville defeated Leek 41-31. Simpson over Oak Forest 14-7. Adams County Christian edged Park Lane 35-34. Capaya defeated Lamar School 28-21. In 4A, Tri-County over Clinton Christian 46-0. Centerville edged Central Hines in a really good game, 44-43. Bowling Green School over Wayne Academy 47-7, and one more, Winston over Washington School 35-7.
And you mentioned that league game, and Philip Palmertree joins us now on the scoreboard show. And Philip, I really felt like that was going to be a very, very close game tonight. What happened over there?
Well, it was a really close game, and it was 20-16 Starkville at halftime. Leek got their only lead with about 6.5 minutes to go. Got a touchdown pass from George Wilcox, 44 yards down the field. They led it 31-27, but that lead lasted only about 33 seconds. So Starkville marched right back down the field, scored, and then got a late touchdown to put the dagger in and win it 41-31. Wilcox tonight, threw 9 touchdown passes last week, one short of the state record. Tonight he goes 38 of 66 for 385 yards and a touchdown, and he ran for 3 scores.
He threw the ball 66 times?
Yes.
Wow.
That's hard to do.
That is hard.
In a high school game, for sure.
That makes, look, I got a bad rotator cuff, and that feels better than that. Wow. Man, this kid's something else.
Yeah, he has really, come along as a 10th grader. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. 2 more years of high school, and really the playmakers, the nucleus of that club, they're all sophomores and juniors, a very small senior class. So league's going to be making some noise the next couple of years, and you gotta give Starkville a lot of credit. They just don't beat themselves. They're solid in every aspect of the game. I think Chase Nicholson is one of the most undervalued coaches in Mississippi. He's been there at Starkville 10 years, and they just every year winning 7, 8, 9 games, and they're just always a tough opponent. And they'll have Simpson next week.
All right. Well, hey, hate to lose you on the scoreboard show. I guess you start your basketball here pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll get basketball started, and I want to say one more thing about football. I want to talk about JUCO for 1 second.
Do it.
Because, I'm the voice of East Central Community College, and I want to give a shout-out to Coach Jonathan Webster and the Warriors, the guys from Decatur. They went 0-9 last year.
Yep.
A coaching change. They beat Pearl River last night 42-14 to finish 4-5. Ooh. And they have really got some momentum. I just going to put the word out to Gulf Coast and Jones and Colin and Hines that, like it says on the side of your car mirror, objects in mirror are closer than they appear.
That's good. That is great. You may want to work that into a marketing campaign. Wow. Well, I'm glad to see that because I enjoy going over there when I'm calling JUCO ball, and it's a great atmosphere. They love their football over there, and it's good to see them making that move. And I'll be picking up some of your games as often as I can. Philip, thank you so much, my friend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
All righty, let's go to is that Harold? Let's wait one from Petal. Who's on there from Petal?
Yes, it's Harold.
Harold, you're not as happy tonight as you were last week.
Well, win some, lose some, but I'm going to tell you something. Jake put it out when he was up there talking about with Brandon. Oak Grove's got a good ball club, guys.
Yep.
They really do. I mean, we had a young squad go up there. I feel for the boys, but in a way, hey, buddy, that's the way the game bounces. And I want to throw this out to both of y'all. It's been a great part to be a part of y'all on Friday nights when I first got started with the program, and I hope for many more years and I can be calling in for our fellow Panthers and be right there behind you. And I'm going to try to call in and next week starts playoffs, and hey, guys, it's like everybody's saying, it's a throw up.
Yep.
Just like they said what Mike's saying about and our man from Picayune. Hey, that 5A division right there, it's going to be something to see who's going to go to Oxford. It's going, and hey, don't count Columbia out.
Absolutely.
Josh and I were talking about that earlier.
I totally agree with that. And you look up and down, go 5A, 6A, 7A. It's still going to be a toss-up 2 weeks before the championship game. I think that's how good everybody is.
It is. It really, really and truly is behind me. And to my staff at Petal High School now, I'll say, great job. We got basketball coming up now. But, I look at it as a growing for these younger players. They'll learn from it, and hopefully, next year, you never know, Petal may be there. I'm not going to count us out. I'm not going to ever count a ball club out. I mean,
I totally agree with that.
Wendy is our AD. She's a fantastic person. You get to know her, got to meet her. You really see what kind of a nice person she is. Robert Knight, all the guys. All the staff at Petal High School is is just fantastic. They are.
And don't forget the
tough to be around
fans.
them.
The fans are as fantastic as that coaching staff. And I know for me, and I'll speak for George too, we sometimes wonder when you don't make it in, how we get through the next week because we didn't talk to you on Friday night. So I'm glad that you're a part of our program, Harold, and we appreciate your friendship and also all the calls that you've given us over the years. And we got to cut you loose. We got a lot of people on there, but we do appreciate it, my friend. And feel free to call in if you catch any of the other games the rest of the way to the championships.
Oh yeah. If I get, I'll be looking next week, and I'll call in to let y'all know something. Especially, I'm going to try to watch the score on that Oak Grove score next week.
Ooh, I'm telling you, Harold. Thanks so much, my friend. We appreciate it.
All right, Russ. Y'all have a good one. We'll talk to y'all.
You too. Let's go to Benji Bailey right now, who was down on the field tonight at Jackson Prep. And Benji, they played the same team they played last week, but the results were different.
Yeah, Russ, no question. Looked like a different team out there tonight. Last week I think we were a little sluggish. Maybe had a little bit of a hangover from playing MRA the week before, plus it was senior night. And so tonight was a little refocused group, I'd say, and just came out with a little more physicality. And look, they were a little more driven this week. So pretty good, pretty impressive outing for Prep. And it was a unique deal because you played the same team 2 weeks in a row, which just never happens. But look, able to do enough out there tonight, and just really did a much better job defensively and offensively. To be honest, forced a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
And, so it was a much more fun night, a lot more happy faces out there at Prep tonight.
Well, of course, those happy faces are going to be there for about 24 hours, and then they're going to run into a team called MRA next week. And if that game is any better than the last game they played 2 weeks ago, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to stand it.
Yes. No kidding. MRA is obviously a very talented team.
Mm-hmm.
Well coached, got a great quarterback, got great receivers, just really a whole lot of talent everywhere. And I mean, they had come off of a real battle with Hartfield before they played us, then had another real good battle with us. So I'm just expecting more of the same. Both teams will be very well prepared. Both teams will be excited about being there. It's a big deal, semifinals of the playoffs. So I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
It sure will, and you'll have one of the best seats in the house. But you'll be standing, unfortunately, so you'll be down on the sideline. Hey, Benji, thanks for making us a part of your Friday night. Congratulations on the Prep win, and we'll talk to you next week after that MRA game.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I mean, we're almost to the top of the hour.
Fastest 2 hours.
I'm not sure you can get another call in at this point.
All right, you want to go over some scores?
Yeah, let me give you these are games from tonight. These are 4A games. Caledonia defeated Ripley 14-10. These are playoff games. Newton County over North Pontotoc 29-7. New Albany defeated Northeast Lauderdale 35-21. Senatobia outscored Leake Central 57-42. It was Houston over Shannon 34-13. West Lauderdale shut out South Pontotoc 57-0. Mentioned earlier, Pass Christian beat Richland 48-6. Macomb, a big winner over Bay 55-7. Lawrence County defeated Mendenhall 44-27, and Forest County defeated Northeast Jones 24-16. Those were all 4A playoff games.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you're going to have to keep an eye on two teams that I can think of right now. Would be in 4A Columbia and also Senatobia.
Right, absolutely.
No, we don't hear a lot about Senatobia because they're up north, and we don't hear a lot about Columbia because they're down south. But I tell you what, keep your eye on them because I think both of them are going to be there. We have been here 1 hour. We're going to be here one more hour, and certainly glad to have everybody with us tonight. 877-672-7464. If you want to talk about your game tonight or your school, maybe their season ended, whatever, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a couple of people on the line right now. We'll go to them when we get back. The second hour of Friday Night Under the Lights made possible by Cricket Wireless coming up in just a second. Stay with us.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians, and there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Leaky roof? Malone Roofing has you covered long after the storm. Mississippi's roofing experts, setting the industry standards. Family owned for over 50 years. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ, Robinson, George. Broad Street is with you tonight. Noah Crow producing tonight. Shout out to Chris Action. Our producer is on the mend, and certainly miss him, and we look forward to getting him back. Ty Bailey taking your calls on the telephone tonight. And Bobby Gross from Prep just came by to make sure everything is like it's supposed to be. So that's a good thing. The queen of Friday Night Under the Lights joins us now, and that is Isabella, who has got to be feeling pretty good because the Vikings rolled. And I believe, wasn't it last night, Isabella, that the Vikings won?
That was. Us and Vicksburg both played last night, and we won. We clinched the division last week with the win over Callaway.
Right.
So it was a good game as far as we got to put our second and team in and stuff like that, and they actually held Columbus on a second and goal from the actually first and goal from like the 1 or 2 yard line. They stuffed them and didn't let them score in the last few minutes of the game and everything. So it was a good momentum builder for the second team and stuff. So we are now awaiting next Friday where we'll get we host Saltillo, and then Vicksburg has to hit the road going to Grenada. But the ironic thing there, if we and Vicksburg win, that'll set up the River City Super Bowl round 2.0.
You'll play it again. Now, where will that be played? Do you know yet?
It'll be at Warren Central. We hold the home field advantage. I feel good about our chances to make it this year, better than I have the past 10, 11 years or so. We've had good teams come through there, but just not able to get over that hump. Running up against Madison Central, and, Cam Akers and Clinton and all that, and the Pearl Pirates and stuff. They had some really good clubs, and we just couldn't get over that hump. But if we, South Pinola's in the north, they hold the home field advantage over us, if I'm not mistaken. So we would, if we make it that far, I believe we'd have to go there. That would be in the North State title game.
Yeah, I tell you, I've spent a lot of tough nights up there with Clinton losing,
me too.
and they got it going, Isabel. That we hadn't heard from them for a while, and you could see it coming last year, and this year apparently they've got it going like they've had in the years past. I think the thing that's gotten the Vikings where they are is their defense, and we heard all summer about how good it was, and it's as good as advertised.
It is, and the great thing about that defense is we have a ton of underclassmen on there, so they will be back next year. So I can remember, look, I've been to South Panola more times than you can count. I remember during the Anthony Ephraim Madison Central years, Madison Central couldn't get over that hump. It seemed like every year it was MC and South Panola for the North State title, and South Panola just get them every time. And then I took my sons. We went to the state championship game in '96 and '97 when it was Moss Point and South Panola back-to-back years. Each time Moss Point won by 3 points. We go up to South Panola for the opening game of the '98 season, right?
Yep.
And South Panola had Moss Point down 27-7 at halftime. The final was Moss Point 38. South Panola 35, another 3-point victory. they had Kevin Fant at quarterback that year.
That's right. That's right. And he went on to play at Mississippi State and had a great career up there.
Right.
Well, I bet, Isabella, we could sit down and talk high school football for a long time. We've covered a lot of games.
Yeah. So real quick. It was the week he was off. I'm a real big historian and statistics person and everything, and so I keep up with with high school football. That's my passion. I like that better than anything. And so I gave George a name. I said, see if this stirs up some memories. And it was Caldwell Lee that I gave him. So I'm gonna give y'all a new name. Tell me if you remember this. Sherrod Perkins.
Sherrod Perkins, and what high school he played at?
Moss Point.
Moss Point. Was he a running back or a quarterback?
Yeah. Was he the quarterback?
I think he was a quarterback. He was a running quarterback.
I think so. And then, of course, Chris Osgood.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
name.
we all remember Chris Osgood. Yeah. Boy, you are a historian.
I remember watching Chris Osgood come running down our sideline on a hook and ladder play in the second round of the playoffs at Warren Central. We've never played Moss Point in the regular season. Every time we've ever played Moss Point, it's been in the second round or either the South State title game. And they took a 6-3 lead with that play. And Moss Point historically, they're not a team that's known for their kicking game. And so they went for 2. We stuffed them. Ended up winning that game 9-6 on 3 field goals. And then, of course, we went the next week. We got to go play Meridian at Mississippi College, and we did great though against them because the first time we had played them that year, we lost 37-0 at our home, and so we only let them put up 23 points to our nothing that game. So
it was an improvement. Yeah. Improvement.
Right.
Well,
Meridian went on. They went on and won the
whole thing. Yeah. Next week you're going to want to listen because we're going to have a guy by the name of Josh Morgan on the show to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
So we'll have him on next week, and we'll see what the Vikings do. Now, who do they play this coming Friday? South Tillow. So you don't know much about Saltillo. That's the beauty of this second round is you play a lot of teams maybe you hadn't heard of, and it's kind of fun. So we'll see how that. We got to shake and bake. We got some folks on the phone, but we appreciate you calling every week, and we'll talk to you next week after that game.
All right, we look forward to it.
Thank you. All right, let's go to Greg Flynn, who has been hanging on. Thank you, sir, for hanging close to that telephone on Friday night under the lights.
No problem, Russell. And since we had the night off, I got to listen to your live stream tonight, and it was fantastic. I fell asleep at halftime, though.
Well, Bobby Gross, who produces that, is in the studio with us tonight.
It's because it was so smooth.
Well, it got so out of hand. So put it that way.
Well, I'm glad you got to take a look at it. You got a big win last night, and you beat what a lot of people thought, was a team that was going to make a lot of noise this year, in a Meridian Wildcat team, and so you've got to be feeling pretty good about the Pirates' chances moving forward.
Well, they played like the '85 Bears defense last night, and Isabella says she loves statistics. Well, Daniel Hill, who is going to be playing somewhere big on Saturdays at some point, the big Meridian quarterback, running back, he was held to 9 total yards of offense last night. He came into the game with 2,000 rushing yards, 300 passing yards, and 300 receiving yards, and he had 9 total yards. That Pirate defense was gang tackling, smothering. They held Meridian to a total of 88 yards of total offense. They had minus 15 at the half.
Well, that was sacks?
Ran away with it. Oh, everything was sacks, tackles for loss. Daniel Hill could not get going at all, and it was unbelievable to watch the inspired defense that the Pirates played. And if they play defense like that, they played it all season against the run, but if they can stop the pass like they did last night and the run, and look out. They get Gulfport next week. We got to go down to the coast. And then, what would be looming after that? Nobody ever likes to look ahead, but it would be a rematch with potentially Brandon.
Ooh, well, I know you would love that.
Well, I think the Pirates would love to get another bite at that apple of the Bulldogs. But we're very fortunate to be in the playoffs, to be the 3 seed, and to be going down to the coast. The thing that really shocked everybody was that Petal upset of Northwest Rankin, which for all intents and purposes ended Northwest Rankin's season that week before, which set that up for the Pirates to be able to go into being a 3 seed because they did not have tiebreaker over Northwest Rankin, and we did not anticipate Northwest would win last night against Brandon, and they did not.
Well, Brandon was too much for them last night. So a good season so far for the Pirates, and they will continue on. And my friend, you will be joining me on the All-Star game, so we look forward to that. And we'll cut you loose. We got a lot of folks to get to, Greg, and we appreciate the call on the Pirates. And we'll talk to you next week as you drive back on 49.
Well, you and George, you guys all do a great job. Noah, Chris, tell Bobby Gross he does a great job on the prep stream.
Well, he's listening on the headset right now, so you just told him yourself. Thanks a lot, Greg. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, thanks. All right, Josh West does an outstanding job with Tri-County, and this is a school that apparently is playoff football team, but even tonight, Josh, by Tri-County standards, this is a playoff game that you just whacked the other team with.
Russ, it was so impressive. Tri-County jumped on them early. Clinton Christian came out and went for it on 4th down, and then had a low snap on that 4th down and short in their own territory. You can't give Tri-County a 30-yard short field. They scored 5 plays later, and then got another stop, score. And you're knowing right there, man, this game's on the ropes, and we're only about 4.5 minutes in. They muff a kickoff, and then we hit the home run ball down the seam. It's 20-0, 6 minutes into the game, and then you look up, and there's 5 minutes to go, second quarter, and you just made it 40-0.
Oh.
And the clock was running at that point, and we're trying to keep up with Central Hines and Centerville. And the last we reported on our post-game show, we're off the air at 9:00. I'm in Petal now.
Whoa!
I've made the 2-hour drive, so quick night. And so it's 20-7 Central Hines. Well, so Cliff Barker, my color analyst, found the string, texted the group. Central Hines took the lead with 90 seconds left, could not stop Centerville. Centerville scores with 1 second left, goes for 2, and wins 44-43.
Oh, man.
That's how good that game was. 44-43. Centerville in Florida next week. That could be one heck of a ball game.
Wow. Josh, thanks for that report, because we were wanting to know what happened. Of course, Bill Hurst wins just about every time he's out there. Thank you so much, Josh. We'll very quickly, where's Tri-County go next week?
Again, Tri-County hosting Centerville. It'll be Bowling Green and Winston on the other side of that bracket.
Very good, very good. Thanks so much, my friend. Josh West, boy, he does a great job. Last week, he was sprawled out on the kitchen floor feeding his puppy. Today, he's flying back to Pedal. We'll take a timeout. More of Friday Night Under the Lights in a moment.
Roof problems? Malone Roofing has you covered. Mississippi's residential and commercial roofing experts. Our work proves it. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com. Family owned for over 50 years.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. We'll be here till midnight tonight. At 11:30, we'll have our Crazy Eights report, and I think Noah's going to explain tonight how an undefeated team during the year goes in as a 3 seed.
No, he didn't have an answer.
Oh, he didn't have an answer because they wouldn't call him back
before we went on the air.
Oh, okay.
And
they wouldn't call him back.
No, I know.
Oh, interesting. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Hey, a real interesting note and a good score to report. A 4A playoff game. You had a friend that sent you a text, Peyton Rawls?
Yes, right? Peyton Rawls. Mm-hmm.
Amory tonight defeated Kosciuszko 24-23 in the 4A playoffs, and that makes Amory now 9-1 on the season. The really interesting thing about that is, of course, we had those back in the spring when it actually rained and had storms and that kind of thing.
We had rain.
They had that devastating tornado that cut across the state.
Right.
And destroyed Amory's stadium. So they basically had to play every game on the road. Some were designated home games.
No home game.
But really no home field advantage in any game. But now they're 9-1 on the season, advancing to the second round of the 4A playoffs.
That's a great story.
Great story.
Great story. And maybe Chris Brooks, he was going to try to get on with us tonight. Maybe we'll get him on next week, and or maybe Brandon Shields will know something about that. But I'm glad, Peyton Rawls and I are probably the only Dallas Cowboy fans in the state. So we
you're not the only ones.
Well, there may be 3 others, but we'll have to discuss.
The only thing
that
is they always disappoint when it really counts.
Like this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Dallas plays the Eagles. Okay. What you got score-wise? Anything that's new that's come across?
Well, yeah. We've got some scores that we've not given you. This is in the 3A playoffs. Enterprise defeated Wesson 38-26. Kossuth over Yazoo County 20-12. Lawrence County defeated Mendenhall 44-27. That was actually in the 4A playoffs. It was East Webster over Roosevelt 36-28. Noxubee County over South Pike 35-6. Mentioned this one earlier. St. Stanislaus beat Crystal Springs 23-17. Some 2A scores: Charleston over Walnut 50-6. Philadelphia beat Water Valley 48-15. Calhoun City over Eupora 58-6. Union over MS Palmer 42-6, and Bay Springs over Wilkinson County 70-6.
What?
Well,
no. Who played that?
That was Bay Springs. Sometimes in these, these classifications, lower classifications, sometimes you get schools. There's a big, between a 1A and between a 1 seed and a 4 seed,
right?
Big disparity. And you get some lopsided scores like that.
And that was 70-6.
70-6. Bay Springs over Wilkinson County was the score there. I can go to the phone now.
All right, let's
got a bunch of calls.
Yeah, we got, of course, don't forget we got Crazy Eights coming up here in just a little bit with Noah Crow. But let's go to the Gulf Coast, and Ainsley is with us tonight. Good evening, girl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Who did you cover tonight down there?
So I did some double duty tonight. So I went to St. Stanislaus for the 3A matchup, and then on my way back, I went to Pastor Shan as they hosted Richland. So got 2 of them, but wish I could have spent more time at both. That's how it always is.
That's the way it always is. Well, let's talk about that St. Stanislaus group, because they're probably one of the better teams that not many of the people in the state know about. Now, this is a school that is tradition rich in football, and it looks like this is one of the better teams they've had in several years.
Yes, I would say so. And actually, my first student athlete of the week this season was actually their quarterback. So I don't know how much you know about him, but I said his name last week, Ian Gael Gonzalez Rios.
Yeah.
My favorite. It was a close game. Crystal Springs actually scored first, and I was like, oh gosh, I can't leave with them in the lead, so I stayed a little longer than I should have. And then Ian, actually, the 2 biggest gains were him running the ball. So he can throw the ball, he can also run the ball, and it actually took him running the ball, running a kickoff back with 2 seconds left on the clock for them to win it. So that final was 23-17. So he was even on the punt return too.
Man. So what did you think about? Picayune I think beat Hancock tonight, and Hancock's been playing good football.
Right. Yes. I mean, they were our longest coached undefeated team with the longest undefeated streak. I think it was 7-0, 7-0. But I mean, I actually interviewed their quarterback as well, Dylan Moran, very talented, could also run and throw. And he was like, man, our goal is just to beat Picayune. I mean, that's everybody's goal,
Yeah.
I mean, that's who you're going to have to beat, and obviously they were not able to. But they did come back. I think they put up 21 points in the second half. They didn't score any at all in the first. But obviously that's also because they probably subbed some guys in the maroon, but that's fine too. But yeah, just those 2 talented programs. Just obviously, Picayune is going to come out winning most of that time.
I got to ask you before we let you go. Covering the coast, there's a lot of high schools down on the coast. How do you try to get all of those, give coverage to all of those teams down there?
It breaks my heart. I wish I could be everywhere at once. We have 25 teams we try to cover.
Wow!
It's impossible. So we try to do at least. I mean, right now it's just me and another guy, Austin Lindsay, on our sports team. So I mean, we're spread thin to say the least, but we try to do the best we can. So we try to get the highlights. Like that's why I did basically Lewis and Pastor Shan, just because regionally that's what worked out. But Austin was only able to go to Popperville just because the other games are kind of just sporadically kind of far. So after we do our highlights, we do a separate graphic of all the other scores, just trying to make sure everybody's at least mentioned and getting the credit they deserve.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got your work cut out for you down there, but you're doing a great job, and, you got some big shoes to fill with Jeff being gone, but you're doing a good job, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to help our show and get the public aware of what's going on. You got Gulfport hanging around down there that's in the playoffs, and I think to me, they're a sleeper down there that could surprise somebody in the next week or so.
Oh yes, I mean they upset. Well, not upset. They beat Harrison Central 49-7 last night. So didn't give them much breathing room at all. So
No.
But then Ocean Springs barely beat them last week. So I mean, Ocean Springs is right up there too.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people that have Ocean Springs penciled into Oxford right now. I don't know if that's a little quick or not, but it's a real possibility. They got it going down there. But there's some good football being played on the coast, and you're covering it for us and the folks down there, and we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Hoping for a Golden Eagle win tomorrow.
There you go. All right, let's go back to the telephones now to Tommy Barnett, who is the sideline reporter for the Jackson Academy Raiders. And Tommy, I'm watching your game a little bit while I'm calling mine tonight, and just looked like you were just two boxers slugging it out in the first half. But I think the turning point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when PCS got down there with 1 second to go before the half ended and could have kicked a field goal to take the lead, they missed it. It went wide right, and it went in down.
Yeah, well, Russ, PCS had really started the game off with a big kick return, took it right down the field, went up 6-0. Their kicking game gave them problems all night. They missed. Oh, actually, Jay blocked the extra point. Jay gets the ball, goes 3 and out. PCS drives right back down the field at 4th and inches from about the JA 14 or so, and opt to kick it instead of going for it. Hits the upright, so they had a blocked extra point and 2 missed field goals. And of course, it was Jay. Second time they got the ball, drove down the field, punched it in, 7-6 at the half. And of course, Russ, when we're calling these football games, we thought that the officiating crew could call holding on every play.
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
Well, I think the crew tonight tried to accomplish that. There were more penalty flags in the first half than there were points.
Whoa, that's at least 13.
It makes for a really long night at the office, if you know what I mean.
Ooh.
So, 14 penalties. I think it was 8 on JA, 6 on PCS. So at least it was even. It was just really long first half. Jay kind of got things cleaned up in the second half. I think of the 12 minutes in the third quarter, Jay possessed the ball for 9.5 minutes. Had 2 really long scoring drives. Scored their first 3 possessions of the second half. Went up 24-6. Final score was 24-14. So it's always good to win a playoff game at home, but we got those guys down the road from you on Lakeland Drive that we have to go see again next week, and they kind of took us behind the woodshed last week.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say your prize for winning tonight was Hartfield, and that's kind of a tough fielder. You told me the week that you played Hartfield that they were one of the biggest high school football teams you've ever seen.
That they are. They're so good in the trenches. They're so big and athletic. And, of course, talking about you and other people, the quarterback, he's a great athlete. And, he really just does a good, efficient job of managing the offense. And people say, well, he doesn't really do a whole lot. Well, he doesn't have to.
That's right.
He's just got weapons all around him with the 2 receivers, Jeff Rowski, Gaston at tight end. He's just got weapons at his disposal, and it'd be a good problem to have being a quarterback.
You are exactly right. Well, we will look forward. I kind of think JA is going to give them a hard time next week. I watched them tonight. This is a good football team, they've just gotten better through the year, and they may give Hartfield all they want next week. We certainly hope so, and because we love competitive football games. Tommy, we're going to let you go. We appreciate you, my friend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Russ and George.
All right. Well, we've only got a half hour left.
Can you believe that?
But you've got the Crazy Eights coming up.
Yes, sir. Noah Crow's got the Crazy Eights in the playoffs. The playoffs. They're in the playoffs, and he'll have all that scoop here in just a moment. It's Friday night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Malone Roofing, continues in a moment.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
Can't process your insurance claim until your request is finished with underwriting. We need more details of all damages to process your insurance claim. Be sent once we finish processing your insurance claim.
It's going to be a little while before you get that
your
check.
Roof is leaking, but that doesn't help us process your request.
Next season, boys.
We work directly with your insurance provider so you don't have to. That means we can get to work without delay.
Show has been made possible by the State Treasury of Mississippi, which is home to the College Savings Program. You're going to want that information. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians, and there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson along with George Broadstreet. We've had a great show tonight so far, and we're going to take her down the last 15 minutes with Dr. Dave Showles and also Brandon Shields. And before we get to those two guys, let's go over the scores that we have, understanding that all the scores will be on the website when the show's over tonight.
All right, I'm going to give you some 2A games from tonight that we've not mentioned before. Lord Star edged Lake. This is in 2A playoff, 21-20. Lord Star won that game. Collins beat Puckett 50-30. Raleigh over North Forest 44-13. It was Clarkdale beating Amite County 36-8. Scott Central over Bogachita 43-28. A couple of 1A scores. Potts Camp beat Thrasher 42-0. It was Baldwin over Strayhorn 41-0. Simmons defeated Stringer 64-12. Taylorsville shut out West Bolivar 56-0. And Resurrection defeated French Camp by the score of 21-7.
You know where Resurrection is?
It's around Natchez, isn't it?
I think it's in Hasburg.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm not sure.
Maybe that's Sacred Heart. No, it's Resurrection. I think they're in Hasburg, I think.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to dig on it. We'll send Noah over there to find out where it is. Speaking of a guy that knows everything, let's go to Dr. Dave Schaus, who is hunkered down in his bunker. And look, Dave, if it was 40 here on Tuesday night, or maybe even 35, what was it in Boone, North Carolina on Halloween night?
It was 25 degrees.
Oh, and even colder than that in the mountains.
Oh, yeah, we went from 70 degrees the day before to 25. Yep. I mean, the weather here is like a slam dunk, okay? There's no middle ground. It just goes from high to low, and you're there, okay?
Well, and I think Mississippi's the same way, Dave, because somebody asked me the other day, said, because it wasn't from around here, said, what is spring like in Mississippi? And I said, well, it was on a Tuesday this year. So
it only lasted about 48 hours, didn't it?
Yeah, that's it. By the way, Resurrection is in Pascagoula, by the way. It used to be Our Lady of Academy, OLA.
Oh, okay.
Well, Our Lady of the Lakes?
No.
Yeah, that's where Fred Cook, by the way, came from Southern Miss. Then went on to, went on to the Baltimore Colts. Yes, sir.
So they've been around a while.
Oh, yeah, they have. They've changed their name, but, yeah, Resurrection. Yeah, when I was at St. John's, we actually played him. He tore us up, I'll tell you.
I imagine. And St. Stanislaus has a Heisman Trophy from,
Doc Blanchard.
Doc Blanchard. Doc
Glenn
Blanchard.
Davis.
Oh, was it Glenn Davis?
Yeah, okay.
Glenn Davis, yeah. It was, they saved that thing even through Katrina. Yeah, it's still there. He willed the Heisman Trophy to St. Stanislaus.
And they were underwater, and somebody had the Heisman Trophy in their hands, treading water over there, and they kept it in that. Don't they have it like in a glass cubicle?
They sure do.
Yeah.
It's got a special place there.
All right, Dave. We got, of course, we've got a very active website, which we're glad that so many people go to it every year, and. One of the reasons that we put up the playoff brackets was because there's a lot of people from the South that may not know where their team's going in the North, and if they do know where the team is, they may not know where the team is, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And so we put this bracket up, and you make sure that the folks get to it pretty quickly by tomorrow. Talk to us about putting that bracket together and what goes into that.
Well, I mean, of course, the first place to go is the Mississippi High School Activity Association. We need to go because they've got everything, straight up.
Right.
So, the final one, of course, is the 7A bracket, which is brand new, and that's the one that's kind of unique because, I think everybody's kind of looking to see when Oak Grove plays Brandon right now. So, that one should be up by tomorrow because I've been waiting for those to be finalized. If you look at that one, Russ, Oak Grove to get to Brandon. So Brandon has to play Harrison Central first. And then if they beat Harrison Central, then they got to play the winner of Gulfport Pearl, all right? Yeah. Then Oak Grove plays Biloxi, but if they beat them, then they got to play the winner of Ocean Springs and Meridian. So they got to beat those guys before they even get to beat each other. So
wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. And the championship games are in Oxford this year.
Right.
And what do you think about that? I mean, we've talked to Don Hinton when they made that change. George, I'll even pull you in on this. They have them at Mississippi State, they have them at Southern. But a lot of people in the South, which is where you're from down there in the coast area, have to travel up to Oxford. That's a long way. And then when it's down at Southern, people in North Mississippi complain because they have to come down to Southern to play. I'd like to get you guys' take on that. I mean, rotating it around, I don't think is a bad idea.
I don't think it is. I do like the idea of having it in the college stadiums because one, it gets people on campuses that maybe never get there before. And you don't really realize that we have some pretty nice, stadiums in the state.
Yeah.
And it gets to showcase them.
What do you think, Dave?
I agree with George a lot. I mean, I have a lot of sympathetic feelings towards Jackson, but I agree with George. And you know what? If you're going to be a champion, you're going to have to be able to go on the road and beat somebody. So I'm with him 100%. And yes, we've got some great college stadiums here in Mississippi.
We do, and like George says, it's good to showcase them. And I was one of the guys that called a lot of those games, Dave, as you know, when it was in Jackson. And we would have good crowds, but that's a big stadium over there. And when you had Wayne County come in, for example, and they had, 7,000 fans come in all wearing those orange sweatshirts, it didn't look like much because the stadium was so big.
I know. People forget that Veterans Stadium's like 65,000, and that's a lot of room. I mean, I can remember when I think it was Oak Grove played South Panola one year, and there were 30,000 people, and that's half full. So I mean, I'm with you there, definitely.
Well, of course, you've been working on the brackets. They'll be ready. Anything that has surprised you, Dave, before we cut you loose? Anything that surprised you about this season to this point?
Well, I guess a couple of ones. Of course, I'm from Columbia. I lived there for almost 20 years, so I mean, I see Columbia being undefeated again.
Yeah.
But then another one, kind of that's leaked through, is Velma Jackson has gone to 1A now, and they're just tearing people up. And I'm going to be amazed to see, ultimately if they're the ones in the 1A. And I'm like everybody. I want to see. I can't help it. That Brandon Oak Grove matchup is one of those that would be for the ages. And it may not happen, but I'm going to be online to watch it. Let me put it that way.
If it does, those are two of the premier. Well, I mean, you look, and Jake Wimberly talked about it tonight. He talked about 7A, and when you look at the schools that are in 7A outside of Clinton, because they lost so many players to injury this year, and they're just now getting them back. I mean, that's anybody's championship up there right now in 7A.
I absolutely agree. Mississippi High School Activity Association, give them all credit. The 7A is just block solid, and it's going to be a great playoff.
Well, Dave, we're going to cut you loose, before all the snow melts and then freezes again tomorrow. And we appreciate all that you do here. And, of course, I've told folks, if they want to watch the show again, they can.
That's right. You can actually watch it on YouTube or Facebook. I mean, we have it up there, so please come on and see us again if you want to.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much, my friend.
All right, George. Yeah, right. See you, guys. See you, Russ.
All right,
See you, Dave.
All right, let's go to Brandon Shields. Brandon, I guarantee you were at Clinton or watching that Clinton game last night. Were you there?
No, I was at Canton, Holmes County last night.
Canton, Holmes County. Talk to me. Talking about Canton Tigers?
Yeah, Ken came in tonight, started the year 0-5, then won 4 straight. Started district play, or when district play began, they won 4 in a row. And last night, had opportunities, just turned the ball over in key moments, and home. County, did what good teams do, make you pay for it. And then in the second half, Holmes County took the second half opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and that kind of broke the back of Canton. And Holmes County clinched the Region 2 5A championship. Canton still Tuesday, they get to host the playoff game. And me and Coach Bolt were talking about this last night. Canton's never won a playoff game in football.
Yep.
So they get a chance to try to do that next week against Lafayette. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes. Where were you tonight?
I was at Puckett and Collins.
Wasn't that 80 points scored in that game?
Yeah, Collins won 50-30. The score does not indicate. Collins kind of had this thing in control from the opening drive of the second half. Had a tip pass, pick six from about 80 yards. Put Collins up 37-14. That kind of broke Bucket's back, kind of having to play catch up. But when you turn the ball over 3 times against a team like Collins, they're a 3 seed. They're 6-4 now, but they're not a bad team
All right. All right.
Playoffs, anybody's good. Yeah.
That's the way it gets this time of year. Thanks, Brandon. We appreciate the call tonight. That's going to give us a wrap.
Man, it really went by quick tonight, didn't it?
That's graining. That's graining on Tuesday night.
That is a little scary. But, I mean, again, it fastest 2 hours in local radio.
Fastest. And we appreciate everybody, really the folks here at MPB for doing what they do and taking care of this show across the state. For George and Noah and Ty and Bobby and Liz and Charles, Russ Robinson saying enjoy your weekend. See you back here next week for Friday night Under the Lights.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.